everybody, I'm back for another review of SWV and Xscape, the Queens of R&B, Season 1, Episode 3, Dis-Chord. Okay, everybody, please be sure to hit that subscribe button so you get regular updates on videos and reviews and commentary that I upload. All right, so getting into this episode, child, let me tell you something. Xscape, y'all ain't looking good. I don't fucks with y'all like that right about now. Anyway, so why they show us what everybody's doing at the beginning, like little things, what they're doing with their family? Why does Ace, Candy's son, who probably barely in school, have 17,200 followers on YouTube? I can't even get 1,000, y'all. Hit that subscribe button. Anyway, so Tasha goes to visit Taj in Nashville. And she talks about how she saw SWV when they came out as an R&B group, and she was like, that was one of the things that made her believe that they could do it. And they went to this Nashville Music Museum because Tasha said she had never been to Nashville. I'm like, how do y'all claim y'all was doing all this touring all these years? Y'all never hit Nashville? Okay, girl. So Taj saw SWV in the music museum. SWV, Xscape, Destiny's Child, on the wall. And Taj told this cute little story. She said, yeah, they were babies back then. She was like, they would look us up every time we came to Houston, because you know that's where Beyonce and them are from. And they would be waiting in a hotel lobby to try to talk to the girls from SWV. And they said they would take them to their autograph signings and just kind of, give them advice. And I think that is so good to know. And I think people really do miss how hard Beyonce, Kelly, even the originals, Latoya, Latavia, worked, and Michelle eventually, to get to where they got to, and Beyonce in particular get to where she ultimately has gotten. Like, she worked hard. She worked hard. She tried to learn from other people and did learn from other people. And that to me is impressive. And those are the little things that we forget. Or we just don't know about. But I do think people are just very dismissive, like, oh yeah, her daddy just put her in front. No, 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 no. You got to work hard as a woman, and particularly as a Black woman, to keep a career and continue to reinvent yourself. All right, like one of my friends was saying. So Taj asked what's going on between her and her sister. She's talking to Tasha. And Tasha said, well, she body shamed me. And Taj goes, what? And she said, yeah, it's a long story, but she was talking about, my little booty. And Taj goes, Taj showed her face to face, like not in the confessional. I know y'all ain't fighting over no little booty. Like, I know this ain't what y'all fighting over. And I was like, exactly, Taj. Please stay the voice of reason, because this shit is some fuck shit, okay? Then Tasha says there's more to it. She said some stuff with her mom, so on and so forth. And Taj was in the confessional and was like, Tasha was really vague. Like, she was not giving me details. And I was like, because she lying, Taj. And I think Taj peeped in. That was just a nice way of saying it. Then Tasha tells Taj she is here actually in Nashville for a record deal. And she was like, well, what does that mean? You're leaving the group? And, Tasha didn't really say anything. Then we get to this other scene with Coco meets up with her close friends or whatever back home. And she admits that she has been diagnosed with bipolar depression. And this lighting is weird in here. I don't know if y'all can see me better. Oh, well, I'll do my best. So she admits that she's been diagnosed with bipolar depression. She said the last straw for her to get help was when she was thinking about killing someone. She said it's good she got help because she could have been in jail. And she said that it's still up and down because that's how bipolar works. And I personally am somebody who goes to therapy every week. I have no shame in saying that for a variety of reasons. Not a life coach, a real psychologist. Okay. And that has helped me a ton. And I just want to say this, just as a person who does do it, for anybody who's concerned, it is work. And you have to want the help. And it may not be the first psychologist that you get in contact with that may be helpful, but I do think it's worth it. Because I remember I was spiraling, and that was the best thing I could have done. and by the grace of God, I found a great African American older man with 40 years of psychoanalytic training and um, history of dealing with treatment and that kind of thing. And it has helped so much. So I feel very blessed. So I'm just saying for anybody out there, don't be ashamed. You were definitely not alone. Hell, if you only know me and know about Coco, by all means. So anyway, we get this scene where we're at Lily's apartment. She's preparing to travel to Pittsburgh. And so are the other members of the SWV. They're preparing for a show. Taj was a bit behind because her flight was late. Once again, they are preparing for a show. They are performing to a crowd. Once again, I'm not saying that they've never had them. Hell, they've admitted to it. But we're not seeing these petty arguments that happen with Xscape, at least not at this point. Because if there were any, they would be showing them because it's reality TV. Okay? They know, this is what I mean by when I say SWV has grown up and they understand the assignment. The assignment is to get this money. Okay? So Tamika's mom, then we get the scene with Tamika's mom, Lord have mercy, comes to her house and waits to step in, just kind of, doing that nasty shit. And it was giving real Mama Joyce energy. You remember that time? This was like early when Candy may have just started on Real Housewives of Atlanta. And they brought that stripper. Phaedra had that stripper, and he was doing something nasty. I mean, because he's a stripper. And Mama Joy showed up at her house, but like wouldn't like hug her or anything like that. And all I could think of, there are some toxic mothers a part of Xscape. Like there really seems to be some toxicity that y'all pass down to your daughters, and that is the way your daughters are also behaving. But all y'all need to grow the entire fuck up. Okay? Anyway, so as soon as Tamika started talking and telling her telling her mother that she felt like she has shown favoritism over the years, her mother starts telling her how, yes, she is the fifth member, which is a response to something Tamika said to her when she was at her house. Fifth member of Xscape. She said, from the time I put that mic in your hand and I taught you this, that, and the other. She came to Tamika's home. Tamika is your daughter, but she is a grown woman. Raising her boys at her daughter's dinner table, and disrespected Tamika. And then started yelling at her, really, to keep her from telling the truth. And telling her truth on camera. The same way she did, shut them cameras off, this, that, and the other. Because she's trying to keep this a secret, and all it's doing is making y'all look like bigger liars, you and Tasha. So Tamika apologized to her mother for disrespecting her. But she said she is going to have to step back if her mother cannot respect her as an adult. She tells her mother this. And Tamika is really hurt. You can tell. And that's why she starts crying. So she says she doesn't think her mom ever healed from her and her dad's divorce. She was a housewife or whatever. So I guess she didn't have her own income. And so when they did divorce, she struggled. And Tamika, self-described as a daddy's girl. And that she thinks her mother has an issue with her because she sees her father when she sees Tamika and she's never dealt with it. And more than likely, that's true. And it's unfortunate and it's hurtful because it's nothing you can help Tamika. But Tamika, let me tell you something. Don't nobody else in the world believe you. I believe they stole your money. And I know you got the receipts. And I know out of familial loyalty, you're trying to avoid making a bigger deal of it. But you know what? Sometimes people just got to be checked. All right? Like, go to jail. Okay? So when her mother told her she apologized if she felt that she had been more of a mother to Tasha than to her, and then proceeded to yell at her, to look at her in her face. Look at me in my face. Look at me in my face. You still miss the motherfucking point. Okay? Tamika never said, if you can't love me as an adult. She said, if you can't respect me as an adult. And quite frankly, the two are different. Okay? Because there are people I don't love, but I still respect. Okay? They, and by they, I mean Tasha and the mama, don't really want Tamika to step back from the family because it means they lose their scapegoat. Okay? And will be forced to deal with their bullshit when there's nobody like Tamika to blame it on. I've seen this shit in families. Let me tell you something, Tamika, you ain't alone. It's unfortunate, but you are not alone, honey. So it was disrespectful of the mother to talk to Tamika like that in her own house, which is exactly what Tamika was saying from the gate about respect. where her 10-year-old daughter lives, and you talk down to her mother like that and treat her like a child. You're out of order, ma'am. You are out of fucking order. Anyway, those tears Tamika shed were real, and y'all are showing y'all, you, Mama, Rocky, and Tasha, all showing y'all's ass. Whatever y'all think we're seeing and not gonna get because y'all keep lying, you missing it, boo boo. You missing it. So Candy's at home and is meeting with Taj from SWV. She's coming over. And Candy said she's closest to Taj. And Taj be getting around. I love it. And she's so embracing to other people. Like she don't have that catty energy. Even Candy's friend, like Kenyatta, who was just there at the house, like she just embraced her and hugged her and was just real nice about it. And she asked Candy, well, Candy asked her what they were doing while they were in Africa. And she was like safaris and stuff like that when they were performing. And she said she was telling Candy, I ran into Tasha in Nashville and that she was looking to do a solo thing with Motown gospel or whatever. And Candy said, this is a repeat of history. Taj said, well, I can relate because Coco did the same thing when the group fell apart when she was looking for her solo deal. And that was like our bread and butter or whatever. And they both were like, well, she doesn't want to say she's out of the group. She needs the group as a safety net. What did I tell y'all last week? I said Xscape is her backup plan if this solo deal does not go through. Because even when she was in the studio, she was still talking about how it's not official yet. All right. But to Taj's point, even if she's not a part of the show doesn't have to stop. Once again, SWV understands the assignment. Can't y'all sing these songs? Candy, you claim you was doing the lead. What the fuck y'all worried about? Anyway, so Lily and her son Kyrie go out. And it was cute. And she said, she was basically saying that people, talk about my kid is my best friend. I didn't realize that was kind of a read on Coco. She was like, I don't play that. I know that sounds good, but I don't do that. My kids, they got to know. They tried to call me by my first name before. No. You call me by one name, and that's the one name you introduced her by, and that's Mama. And I was thinking to myself, I wish I would call my mama by her first name. Anyway, she said that her son is a very talented rapper, and she was like, not just because he's her son. She said he is solely relying on her right now and her resources for his career. Now, I will say, I do remember him from Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta, and he was actually good. I do remember that. And anybody who saw my reviews of Growing Up Hip Hop LA knows I will read people. Okay, and speaking of people who are good and not good, somebody got in my comments last week and was like, Candy can sing. She just has a unique voice. Well, then maybe you should go to a channel where somebody else thinks that, because I'm going to tell you right now, I do not like Candy's voice, and no, I don't think she can sing. Okay? Okay. All right? Now, I would say T-Boz had a unique voice. Candy, I just don't think she can sing. Fuck it. Anyway, but I remember from Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta that her son was in jail, so I imagine it's hard for him to find a good job. But you gotta hustle, bro. You gotta hustle. And when the group, she was telling her story. And when the group broke up in 1998, Lily said she was living in her car because she didn't have the money flow coming in. And you can't keep up a lifestyle like that. So when Coco broke from the group, that's the deal. The deal is these three packaged people. And she kept a lot of things from her kids because she felt like as a mother, she should protect them from knowing too much. And she said that she would literally drive around New York City until about 4:30 or 5:30 in the morning because she was afraid while living in the car. Anything could happen. Like she could get raped. Hell, you could get robbed. And she said, and then I would park in Yankee Stadium and just sleep there. And I was just like, and she was like, it was rough. She said, I didn't have any money coming in. And then she said she went back to school and got her GED. I had no idea she didn't graduate from high school. But then, other things we had saw, Tiny didn't graduate from high school. And then she said she had an office job. She eventually gets an office job and she was able to get back in control of her life. And I'm sure that wasn't the kind of money she was used to making with SWV. But hell, a consistent check is better than a big inconsistent check as far as I'm concerned. That's just the way I'm set up. She said she tried to keep the bad things away from her kids, but she doesn't want them also to skip the process. So this way they can appreciate their accomplishments. Life has ups and downs. We live in a capitalist society. A capitalist society only can function if people are impoverished. So yes, shit, some of us are just gonna have a fucked up life. Not a fucked up life, but just gonna have to like struggle for each dollar. And that's the unfortunate part. Um, she said even at one point she wanted to commit suicide because it had just gotten so bad. And I'm sure going from being a star to not a star and then people knowing who you are, but you don't have that kind of money, that kind of, I mean, that has to take a toll on you. Um, Lily, just in these first three episodes, has a lot of sad stories, but she has a lot of lessons and a lot of telltale lessons too, that people need to know in show business or life. And good for you, girl, for not being ashamed that you can't share it. That ultimately it helps somebody else. And I really appreciate your honesty because I know it can be easy to relive that, and people are cruel, particularly on the internet. And so I just think I'm rooting for you. I feel like we learned something from watching the way the members of SWV have learned to deal with each other as a group and as grown women, and the way they carry themselves with their personal life, you know. Escape is forcing us to be armchair psychologists, okay? To figure out what the fuck the problem is. And I mean, damn. Like, y'all bitches just need to just get it the fuck together. And the end of this episode pissed me the fuck off. All right. So, Tasha is in the studio. Okay? The music doesn't sound bad. It really didn't. It sounded good. Like I said, I never denied Tasha's vocals or whatever. She says the studio is very therapeutic for her. I couldn't tell if that was gospel, R&B, or whatever. I couldn't tell, but the vocals were good, girl. The beat was good. She says she hasn't signed yet, but this is still a new chapter for her. I'm like, so I guess you are anticipating the signing. So Rocky's punk pimp, former working with R. Kelly's ass, comes in and calls her anime. That shit ain't funny to me. That shit ain't funny to me. The way he was whispering her ear in the confessional, the way he switched up on her at that Motown session, and the way he's treating her sister and her family, and considering the way he acts, I don't think that shit's funny. I think that shit is disrespectful as fuck. I don't think Ike Turner jokes are funny anyway. I don't play about domestic violence. And like I said, I went to an all girls college. I went to Spelman College. And trust and believe, I had more than one friend who were in situations like that. And not even next door necessarily with the guys from Morehouse One was, but with guys back home who went home on her Christmas break and he found her in a parking lot and threw her over the top of a car. So I don't think that shit's funny. It's not funny to me. It wouldn't be funny to me even if he wasn't acting like that, but the shit is never funny to me. All right? Anyway, Rocky and Tasha sit down after he pops in. She says she got a text from Candy. She's talking to him because SWV wants to do a performance and she wants them to come and practice and prepare. Okay, so do it. So Rocky was like, are you going? He said, it's obvious the stuff with Tamika is affecting you. I mean, he was basically saying, I mean, does she want the group back together? Putting it on Tamika. Once again, I'm telling y'all, she is the fucking scapegoat in her family. And he was like, obviously not, because she's accusing me of stuff. She's accusing you, so that has to do with business? Yeah, Tasha, I see why your career is where it's at. Your husband can't be your manager. We have seen this recipe, okay, before, and it always goes bad. Okay? The chicken always burns in the oven. Anyway, so he was like, but I forgive her. You fucking gaslighting asshole. Fuck you. Forgive her for what? Anyway, so Coco's son is doing a video singing. It's not giving. It's not giving vocal training. It's not giving natural talent. But he's doing a video singing. And Coco comes in and says, hey, shut up all that noise. She reminds me of my cousin. My cousin acts like that. Then he says, you know I'm doing the video, right? And she was like, oops, my bad. So she says she sees her son as like her broke best friend. And that's why I realized that Lily was kind of reading her. Anyway, she says she needs to go. She says he needs to go to school and really be a dentist. She was like having this conversation with him again. She said he went to school for a year and he got good grades without even trying. She said, you're going to go because I'm paying for it. The entertainment business is difficult and there are not a lot of black dentists. Facts. Good points. Now, I'm sure the rest of us who got college educations who graduated or maybe couldn't graduate who didn't have the money are sitting here looking at him like, you got somebody paying your tuition who went on scholarships, grants, loans, whatever the fuck you got. The rest of us who had to scrap, and you up here crying because you gotta go, baby. Yeah, you get no sympathy from me in that regard. Okay, you just don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. So she says she never got a chance to go to college, and his brother never went. It does seem like Coco has more confidence in the older son's talent to take him further. But he also has 1.1 million followers. There's also something substantial there. Um, the grandmother and mother, so she said, well, you got to tell your grandmother, right? I guess she was expecting grandmother to back her up. Like a good grandma, she couldn't do it. she couldn't do it for the grandbaby. All right. So the grandmother and her mother were like, "You're not old enough to know what you want." Now, which I know is true, but I know at that age, I don't know that I would have received it either. So then he started crying and he said, "Well, if I take a year off and then it doesn't work out, then I can go back." So the grandma is on the other line and goes, "I think that sounds like a good plan." Coco was pissed. Coco was like, "Okay, bye." She was like, "You didn't support me when I wanted to sing." She said, "No, yes, I did. I went to all those meetings and stuff." Coco goes, "No, you did." Okay. Then she says, "I don't recognize the person who raised me and who is talking right now." She said her mom would literally leave sticky notes on the mirror and around the house telling her to get a job because singing was clearly not paying the bills. That shit is funny, I guess, as long as it wasn't your mother. And it was given, I thought for a second, I was like, see, that's what sticky notes, if you're going to try to get somebody, that's what they're used for. Candace, you tried to get us on them sticky notes when Monique slammed your head into that table because you was talking too much. See, and we weren't feeling the "you're okay" and "I need antidepressants." We weren't feeling that. But sticky notes, that was a passive aggressive way to tell you to get your ass a job, or a direct way, just Anyway, so SWV is rehearsing together as a group and are getting regular bookings. They're rehearsing. They're doing what performers are supposed to do to give a good show. Okay? So those vocals were sounding good. They were clear. Their manager was like, they have an upcoming meeting with Xscape, and there are other opportunities that are coming in for the upcoming year. And so he was basically just like, if Xscape doesn't work out, he has other stuff for them to do. There's other stuff on the table. So when Tiny was talking about the other week that, Tiny and Candy were like, the management hasn't done anything for a year. Here SWV has a year worth of stuff. Just continuously coming their way. And Taj was like, I think they are willing to go without Tasha. She's telling SWV that. And the group and the manager. And Tiny said Tiny's talking to Candy. And Tiny said Tasha didn't say that she was shopping a solo deal, but she was just resistant from the first meeting. And she said the deal doesn't have to hinder them. She said, but she feels like she was creating things to distract them from what she really wanted to do, which was the solo deal. And I agree with that. I mean, you can do it. People do solo projects to work as a group. Beyonce did Crazy in Love, Dangerously in Love, and then Destiny's Child came back with Destiny Fulfilled, and that shit was a coming of age album. As y'all can tell, I'm a Beyonce fan. I'm ready for that concert in July. Okay. Anyway, so Xscape meets up with SWV. Tasha actually I'm shocked. Maybe she needed the check. All right, maybe she can pay her sister back with the money she makes from the show. Anyway, so they all get there for a collective meeting. So Tasha was like, this collective tour will be good for the culture. That's why she's there. 2 strong African American singing groups. It's good for the culture if y'all know how to act right, if y'all know how to produce, rehearse, and perform, but not just for the sake of y'all existing. Anyway, so Taj started. Taj is the voice of reason. She understands business. She understands her role in the group. Taj was always clear, like on other shows, like, I wasn't a lead singer. Coco was. And she was okay with that. So, Taj wants to handle business. Taj said, let's do one hot ass collaboration for a one night show. And she was like, everybody hands in. Just with a good spirit, good heart about it. And then Tasha is slow to put her hands in. Candy's in the confessional, like, here we go. Candy and Tasha, based on this incident, y'all got a lot in common. Candy, you showing your ass too. All right. So everybody else is like, finally, in their confessional, like, okay, we get Tasha in. So the manager says they have to do the show in the next month because he's their manager. He has things lined up, unlike the company that Rocky is closely associated with. That's supposed to be managing Xscape, and they have to look for new management and prepare for a show in a month, and they can't get along. Oh, child, this is a mess. Even as I said that, I was like, oh. So Candy asked about headlining because their last tour, she's referring to Xscape, they were headlining, and she wants to know about billing. The name up top. So Candy, you and Tasha are showing over and over again why people see y'all as problems to work with musically. This does not have to be that big of an issue. SWV is carrying crowds now. And when I say carrying crowds, people are buying tickets to their performances. People are willing to let SWV perform in various venues because people come. Let's be clear about that. And they also rehearse and practice for performances, which we have yet to see Xscape do collectively, even on camera. Okay? So slow your roll. Slow your roll. So Coco gave the look I had like, where's she going with this shit? The manager said they need to be co-headlining. Candy was like, well, we should have top billing on any tour. And Taj was like, well, we should co-headline. Right? Reasonable. Coco is in her confessional and she said we sold 30 million records compared to what, y'all 7 million? Because they love to pump up that 3 times platinum. Yeah, that means 1 million albums. But 30 million compared to 7 million, last time I checked, 7 times 4 is 28. So that's over 4 times the amount of records you've sold. Tiny said they don't have, she was like, SWV doesn't have the following and fan base that Xscape has. Because her and Candy are on reality TV following, and because people know them, like, they're like, oh, those girls can sing, this, that, and the other. Ma'am, we watch shows that y'all are on for entertainment. I have never watched Real Housewives of Atlanta waiting for Candy to bust out some vocals. Truth be told, I didn't know who the fuck Candy was. I was in college watching that show like, oh, okay. Like, I knew what Skate was, but I didn't know nobody specifically. Anyway, so Taj is like, so you were saying as far as business, essentially y'all want to be paid more. And Taj was like, y'all never headlined when y'all were actually popular. She's in her confessional. She said, but 10 to 15 years later, when y'all come back together, and I was like, kind of come back together, they can't practice, rehearse, so they can perform together. So, I mean, I don't even know what the fuck they're doing right now. And she was like, now y'all want a headline? So Taj was like, Lily and Coco just walk out. They were like, I can't deal with this bullshit. And I don't blame them because that one gonna go nowhere but left. But once again, SWV understands the assignment. Extract yourself until you can calm down. And I don't blame them. I think it is disrespectful as fuck. SWV is still doing more touring, actual ticket selling, not to know Candy's play in Atlanta, okay? And you can't even agree to co-headline. SWV didn't say we're headlining, y'all should come and be a backup act or an opening act. They said fucking headline for one night. Candy, why are you creating a situation that doesn't have to be? You want to just headline and you bitches can't get along long enough to practice, perform, and rehearse? Candy, Tiny, Tasha, get the entire fuck out of here. This episode pissed me off, but y'all be sure to like and subscribe and tell me what y'all think in the comments. And we'll talk soon. Y'all have a great week. Bye.